Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Jeff Berger, and welcome to Holistic Mental Fitness Series, where myself and Mupo Entertainment believes mental fitness is the new physical health. So before I bring on my very special guest today, Lynn Billett, a nurse practitioner, to the stage, if I may, for a few seconds here. As a certified holistic wellness coach, I'm humbled to be affiliated with an amazing group of humanitarian entrepreneurs who are aligned with the only holistic mental wellness company that is actually focusing on the microbiome. And some people are saying, well, what is that? Great question. And this is the Gut Brain Heart Access Health Science that's disrupting the health and wellness industry today, especially when it comes to mental wellness. Who out there hasn't experienced stress, anxiety, depression, or even have had suicidal thoughts? I'm sure many of you can relate. And it's no exaggeration to describe stress, depression, anxiety, and burnout as epidemics, literally the black plague of our modern times, especially with what's going on today in the entire world. This interview series is very near and dear to my own heart because it's about sharing stories of others opening up in conversations from all areas of wellness to help people understand it's okay to talk about mental, physical, emotional health and share their experiences and become informed of alternative options out there that are safe and work, whether it's stories through individuals or other health professionals who provide different products and services that are available to those individuals who are really looking. So we provide real solutions to real people who are serious about getting their physical and mental emotional health from a state of barely surviving to thriving again. You know, there is no physical health without mental wellness, and they really, they really are they are two sides of the same coin, and they're vital for each other and our ability to reach our peak potential in this one life that we get to live. So, how you feel is not just in your head, it's also in your gut. And this is what we do best. So, before I bring Lynn on board, we're going to take a quick commercial break before I formally introduce her, just and to also let you know that this is a interview series through Mupo TV, and it's a syndication that you can actually download an app on your Android or your iPhone. It's Mupo Entertainment app. It's also seen on Fire TV, Vimeo, Roku, and pretty soon it may be on Netflix. So we'll be right back with Lynn Billett. Okay, we are back with Lynn Billett, who is joining us from the other side of the United States. I'm in Cape Coral, Florida, and Lynn is joining us from Sacramento, California today. Lynn is the mom of two amazing children, a son and a daughter. Lynn actually completed her Master's of Science in Nursing at UCLA in family practice and a subspecialty of occupational and environmental science. Lynn is an ARNP, which is an American Registered Nurse Practitioner, and a ABAAHP. What in the world is that? It is an American Board of Anti-Aging Health Practitioner. She's also a graduate of California State University of Sacramento and California State University of Fresno. She is licensed in California and Florida, and she was a former nurse practitioner at Lee Health, which is right in my neighborhood. She left the state when I came down. And because I'm here in Southwest Florida, Lynn has a list of accomplished amazing accomplishments that are just endless. I could go on and on and on. But the bottom line here is Lynn's passion is wellness. And she has a very, very deep desire to teach people how to become the best that they can by sharing her experience about functional and anti-aging medicine, which is a preventative approach to healthcare, which is what I love and why I'm so excited to have her talk about this today. And she is the founder and owner of Aging Beautifully Now. Welcome, Lynn Billett, to season 4 of Holistic Mental Fitness Series.
Wow, thank you for that amazing introduction. I feel
You're
like I'm pretty famous for doing this amazing, but I did all that. I can't believe it.
you did that and more and more. I
Yes,
didn't even have, I could go, as I said, I could go on and on and on.
more to come. Yes, we are
Abs-
always learning.
a- Absolutely, absolutely. Growing, learning, expanding, and sharing. That's the whole key, is providing value to people who are out there looking for solutions. Because I know about 5 years ago, I was looking for solutions because all my doctor wanted to do was put me on more medications. And that was not the way that I wanted to go. So before we jump into the questions, share a little bit about who Lynn is outside of your business as a nurse practitioner and owning this amazing Aging Beautifully Now business that you have.
Well, I came up with that name, Aging Beautifully Now, because you got to start everything now. You can't wait for your children to go to college and then you're decrepit with um, multiple diagnoses, right? So this is not called the childbearing years. It's called the disease preparing years if you're not careful. Most of us, we neglect our bodies, it's taking care of everybody else. So, I caution my patients to be aware and be conscious as they continue to live, conscious living and making decisions to help um, make future memories. So whatever happened in the past. What's happening now is fixing what happened and then moving forward. You either move forward and evolve or you repeat,
Yep,
right? So
absolutely. Absolutely correct, and that's a vicious cycle for many people. I know I was in that, and talking with other people, over the past couple of years, they're starting to realize that, in order to we've spent decades getting sick and destroying our body. If you really want to change, it's a lifestyle change, and you have to start at a daily increment, one step at a time, because it's not the red or the blue pill. It takes time to heal your body and get back to a very, very healthy state. So I know that from experience myself. So many start today in a traditional path of Western medicine, which is actually, I was in pre-med back when I got out of high school. Unfortunately, it didn't lead that way, but we're not here to talk about that. But in any event, many practitioners today are moving out onto their own. So, you were a nurse practitioner for many, many years. Talk about your transition from being a nurse practitioner to really wanting to go out onto your own, and what were some of the key points that got you out of working in I'll say, the corporate medical world and doing your own thing.
well, as you mentioned, I did graduate from UCLA, prestigious school, with all these titles, and I felt really proud of my profession because I'm healing patients, taking care of them, and also have authority to prescribe medication as well. It's kind of like being a hybrid between a provider, like a nurse, and a doctor married into one in a room where you're taking care of the patient. You understand what their psychosocial issues. You're listening to them and have good bedside manner, as well as being a diagnostician. Um, but it is very challenging, and so during that time of going to school, my outlet was exercise and yoga. So I got certified as a yoga instructor and aerobics instructor. And later on, when I had my children, starting at age 35, I was a late bloomer. The education came first, and then my children came later. But my son, both of my pregnancy, I've encountered gestational diabetes.
Mm.
And complications during pregnancy with placenta previa and postpartum depression. My body was falling apart. My hair was falling apart where I had to like learn how to do my hair so that nobody can tell whether I have bald spots in the back of my hair or in the front. Um, so the outside looks good, but the inside was falling apart.
Right.
And it literally took my son at 16 months, headbutted my face and broke all my front teeth. Um,
Oh, ouch.
yeah, these are actually they're fake now, so they're gonna be beautiful forever.
There you go. Well, that's
All
good.
the way down to the down until even after you bury me, it'll still be beautiful like that. It's all tan, right? So I made a joke. I told my children, I said, when I die, just pry my mouth open and let them see my pearly whites before I go out. Because I paid thousands of dollars, all right. But really, the truth is, the hard story, I mean, the real story is our bodies break down as we age. And so it actually took my son headbutt my face and broke my front teeth, made me realize that I was malnourished. During pregnancy, I grew the skeleton. It doesn't matter if I eat or not eat, but that baby is sucking the life out of me. My
Sure.
brain, all my nutrients. So, children, I mean, pregnancy, during pregnancy, there is a condition called pica. And pica means that a woman can eat dirt or, chew ice or some weird habits of eating because it's a condition, but really the underlying condition is malnutrition, or you don't have enough nutrients. So you're actually trying to eat weird stuff like pickles and ice creams, weird taste buds like that. So anyway, of course I ate everything that, I crave for weird stuff. So it's during pregnancy, I became a gestational diabetic, and I had to like really poke my fingers. I mean, I remember poking my fingers like 1,200 times before I had this baby. Second baby, of course, I was diagnosed diabetes at an early, like 8 months. I mean, 8 weeks, and so ended up having to look at my diet again, but I didn't have to go on medicine
Good.
because I knew what to eat. The first time was like, oh, I can't believe I'm diabetic, and I felt really horrible. But then I realized that the Almighty has a plan. You're
Certainly
diabetic, not
does.
the fact that you're being punished. You actually are told to check in. That way you don't check out, right? So
Exactly.
I've been telling all my patients, like, honey, you're sweet enough. You don't need any more sugar. You're sweet enough. All you need to do is just make sure that you stay on your own path or your own journey, taking care of yourself. Check in. That
Exactly.
way you don't check out.
Yes,
For you, not
absolutely.
against you. This problem is not for you. So I ended up not getting too much weight, but I did gain some pregnancy weight. And of course, I had some mental health issue because I was malnourished. I didn't know that I was malnourished. So the doctor diagnosed me as having just postpartum depression.
Hmm.
So I was giving a SSRI, Lexapro,
Lexapro. Yes.
for postpartum depression. And in my head, I'm thinking, I'm not depressed, but I'm mad as hell. I'm really frustrated and irritated. But I just, the doctor said, well, I've been practicing for 32 years. I know women after they had their babies, they have their hormones shift, and this will help you feel better. It really will, and just take it, and it will you'll feel better. So of course, I went to my girlfriend's house, crying to her. But then she said to me, she's like, what do you expect? You had two babies. Um, it's that's part of life. So what you need is just get your husband's credit card and buy new clothes. It doesn't help me either. So I thought,
No.
I said, well, what about these women who are like they're models, they're on the runway after 6 weeks? I mean, what do they have versus me, right? I mean, what they have that I don't have. So I got an answer as well, do you have their kind of money? Do you have a cook? Do you have a personal trainer?
Right.
You don't have that kind of money. But I was an aerobics instructor. I was a yoga instructor, and I know how to eat. I didn't take medications when I was during pregnancy, gestational pregnancy. So I thought, well, I can go back and doing the same things to get myself back. Well, use my babies as weight, so I got myself back. But needless to say, that friend of mine, who was a really good friend, and be careful who you listen to, because sometimes you listen to your own best friend and end up becoming your own worst enemy, because you
Sometimes it happens.
fall into
Yes.
that trap, right?
Yeah,
The American
absolutely.
diet, and yeah, so it's horrible.
Absolutely.
But I got
So
myself.
you talked earlier about the medications, and you did go on Lexapro, but your primary focus is really on functional and anti-aging medicine, which is more of a preventative approach to healthcare, which is really circumventing that approach of medicine. So, talk about that approach through your own practice that you're doing today to help people understand it's all about preventative, because obviously most people today know that the medical professionals go to school and get educated to prescribe medications, period. They are not into getting to the root cause and addressing the root cause, and then focusing on wellness. They're focused on illness.
Correct. And I didn't go on to Alexa Pro. I didn't want to take it. So I
Oh,
managed to
well, good
actually
for you.
started learning about functional medicine. And that was the birth of me, of my functional medicine pathway, learning about trying to figure out what the root cause of the problem, instead of here's a
Mhm.
pill for every ill. But unfortunately, the medical arena and how they were educated and how we were educated is to prescribe medication for every single symptoms. So either you have a symptom, you take this medication, you take another medication to chase another side effect of that symptom. So it's like a pill for every ill. And
Right.
it's managed sick, it's not managed well.
Yep.
So in order to have managed well, you got to figure out, okay, well, this is not working. Why is this not working? Look at your lifestyle. What are you eating? How are you sleeping? Are you pooping? Are you really stressed out? Are you having chemical burdens on the environment that you live in? And do you have family history? So you're not just what you eat, you're how you absorb your nutrients, how you internalize them and respond to physical and emotional stress. Um, People, places, and things can make you deranged, right? Mental illness,
Yep.
and zap your energy. And then also chemicals in the outside environments, pesticides, parasites, viruses, fungus among us, bacteria, can
Yep.
affect us. And heavy metals. Some people who have mental illness have a lot of heavy metals. And so if you don't chelate them, then you go on medication for schizophrenia, and you can be B deficient and have schizophrenia. There's so many things that just you don't even know behind the scene. So we can't just quickly prescribe a medication just because they complain about symptoms. And the unfortunate thing is, traditional medicine, here in America, we prescribe a medication because we only have 15 minutes to see a patient. You're lucky to have 15 minutes to see the patient. But how do you know all the patients, the whole story of the patient? You can't.
You
So,
can't.
so that's why I decided to venture out on my own, and taking care of patients, actually spending an hour or 90 minutes to get to know the patient, the timeline of what the exposures they have from the time that they're born. Maybe mom smoked or mom used drugs. Some people are on, their moms are using amphetamines when they were born, so it's
Correct.
not their fault. So you got to know the whole person, and you don't have enough time. You just don't have time. This system is not made for us to heal patients. It's the kind of giving a band-aid, and then I encourage my patient. I really encourage patients to be their own investigator. So
Correct.
I am their facilitator, and they are their own facilitator. We kind of meet into, and it's really good when you have someone who's on board and willing to really investigate, because I'm not there with them 24/7. Yeah.
Right.
And they
Right.
have the wounds inside their head that nobody sees. And if you don't ask the right questions, you don't get the right answers, you know?
Right. Exactly. And that's in 19 no in 2019 is when I actually took ownership of my own health, because it was at that point that I realized doctors are not there to help you get well. They're there to help manage your illnesses. And we need to be advocates for our own health because we know our bodies. And then we should go to the doctors and say, this is what's going on with my body. And you have the right, just like I did with a new endocrinologist last week. She wanted to put me on a medication. I said, no, I'm not going on a medication. There are alternative options out there. Plants were put here for a reason. Let's find a plant alternative option to address the symptom. So, yeah, I applaud you on that. And getting to the root cause is really one of the biggest keys to helping people understand about preventative medicine, preventative illness, so forth and so on. But mental health is a huge topic today, and um, we've all had our own challenges and rewards from it because it's a learning experience, and some are good, some are bad. As we embrace our own journeys, and you have your own tragic story. If you can share just a little bit about that, because I'm from the discussions that we've had over the last months through our coaching program. You've talked a little bit about this, and I think that this is an integral part to why you've gone out on your own and how you're helping other people.
Right, right. So 6 years ago, it'll be June 3rd. 6 years ago, my husband committed suicide at my house, and I was embarking my journey to open my practice in functional medicine and aesthetics practice in Florida, and that just it literally killed me, like mentally. I was
Sure.
deranged. For about 1 to 2 years, I've had panic attacks, excessive stress. I was flying back and forth trying to do my Botox on the other side, taking care of patients, flying back here because most of my family's here, and my entourage are here, so I had to move back. My children were 12 and 8 at that time,
Right.
and mother said, "No, Lynn, you can't. That's going to be your baby. Your work's going to be your baby. And these two children, you cannot take that time back, and you're healing. So how can you do everything? You can't do everything, but you can do everything with time." And,
Correct.
you know,
Correct.
it's like,
And again, so sorry for your loss. I know it's tragic. So
but when I so a couple key things that happened to me that made me realize that I have to take the matters in my own hands, and that, yes, this is a wound, right? The wound needs to heal. I can't just shut it off with a pill, right?
right,
So it's
right.
gonna hurt. It hurts. It freaking hurts bad, you know.
Sure.
And it's okay to be not okay. And it's appropriate to not be okay. I just want to let you all know that you don't have to be smiling when somebody who you love dies. Um,
Absolutely.
yes, and you have to be able to validate that emotion instead of like nip it in the bud. Um, but so many people just like, oh, just, you know you, like, it's like all the keys on the pianos are correct, right? If you play the keys correctly, then everything's correct. So if you have somebody who makes you mad, you get angry, right? Somebody dies, you cry, right?
Correct. Yep.
Somebody makes you happy, you feel good, you feel happy. But because our emotions are muffled, um, either by mental upbringing or traumas, and then we convert that to dramas, trauma to dramas, in the future. We're these little kids inside their bodies, right? But as we continue to become an adult, we're still that little kid. So we have to listen to him or her, hear her, really validate her feelings, and respect that person and let that person be heard.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then your food is also your how you fuel, how you think. If you can't think, you're not eating the right food. And if your liver tells you when medication goes through nutrient, hormones, and toxins, that liver is jammed up with fat. How can you get the nutrient in the brain? How can you get rid of toxins? And if you can't, that could be a mental illness, right? People say,
Sure.
well, you have a mental illness. Here's a pill. But that's not it. You know, you got to find out the root cause of the problem. What kind of traumas you have, your traumas you had as a child or as you go through life, because everyone's going to have trauma. Everyone's going to be sick. Everybody's going to be malnourished. But you have to be the person who realize that, hey, I'm not doing this right. It has to be an intuitive thing in your mind to say, you know, there's something different. And I have to do something to change. And that's what I recommend. But, you know, my mother told me, you know, people are going to die, you know, as we age. You know, I'm going to be 54 and I have many people who died like my life. But she told me one thing that really woke me up. She said, Lynn, you can't live your life like this because of somebody died. Now in your life, everybody's going to die, but you don't know why, and you don't know when, you don't know how, but you can't live your life like they're dead inside of you. You just have to remember the essence of how they impacted your life, and that you can continue to go on because of them.
That's so important. That is really so important because we tend to go into ourselves, and those people who have gone on wouldn't want you to do that.
That's right.
And yeah, it's and you're doing that now, in light of your husband, in respect of your husband, in honor of your husband, and also for your kids. You're here for your kids and those that are still here, that you know, surrounded by loving family and friends.
Right.
So
So even if you don't have like a big family, so maybe it's just you're by yourself. Okay. So for the people who actually just feel like they live alone and they just feel alone, I'm going to tell you, you're not alone. You're among millions and billions of people here on earth. Okay. How do you
yeah,
get to know somebody who's your spouse? It's that they're your strangers at first, right? So to feel lonely inside is also a choice. I'm going to tell you that. And I would
that's
like to
true.
share, right? So
Yes,
I want to share with you what I wrote for myself. So hopefully, if you do have someone who passed away, this will resonate with you and give you the courage to and um, the feeling of calmness and peace that you can move on. So if you can give me a chance to read this, that I read this, I actually wrote this for myself, and I've shared this with many of my patients who have had people who died and they have sabotaged themselves by using drugs, alcohol,
right.
you know, eating too
Yes,
much, shopping too much, gambling, to something that really just woke, you know, wake them up. So I would like to share this with the world. Okay.
sure. Go for it.
It's called Survivors of Death of a Loved One. So if you are listening, I want you to close your eyes and just listen. Okay. As if you're talking to your loved one. I have been having conversation with you in my heart every single day, although I have not heard your voice since you left. I know that you exist in another dimension. And though my heart aches for you as I have unanswered questions to why you left so soon, I trust the higher universe that it was your time to go, although my selfishness does not agree that it was your time. You impacted my life more than you can imagine, and I will greatly mourn for you. And I treasure the memories that we have shared together, and your love for me is and forever will be my heart. So we will never be apart. To honor you, I will go on with my life thriving because that's what you have wanted me to do. And though it is so hard, very hard, and it will take time. And while I'm still alive, I will live my life consciously creating new memories with love and kindness and gentleness and not sabotage myself. The key is sabotage. I'm really good at sabotaging ourselves. Because I know that you love me and watch me over me as an angel from above, I will promise to always love myself and emanate your love to others until we see each other again. Until then, I'll see you in my thoughts and dreams. You can open your eyes.
That was beautiful. Thanks for sharing that, Lynn.
Thank you.
And we are at the 30-minute mark. I can't believe, where did the last 30 minutes go? This is I have to have you back. I got to have you back,
We'd
and
love to come back.
we'll definitely have you back to talk more about your anti-aging and preventative practices that you're sharing with all those people on the West Coast and anybody here on the East Coast. So, Lynn, I want to thank you for taking the time today from your busy schedule to be my guest and bring so much value to what you're doing in this community of alternative wellness, because it is so much needed. And you are changing the world, and you will continue to change this world and have an impact on so many people that are out there. So I want everybody to remember, I believe we all should be living in abundance and optimum wellness physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially today. And lastly, mental fitness is the new physical health. And I'll see you on the inside the next time. Thanks, everybody.